through the match, I would just make up rules again. So we are going to jump into the next match even without going to a break this time to reward you guys for sticking with us through that last break. So you can see the next matchup is being thrown onto your screen there. Don't be surprised if the decks switch around a little bit. Maybe the one on the bottom doesn't mean that it's banned. We'll get the X through the deck that's banned when it comes up. So Orange from Team Archon will be playing the next match. So that's in one of those big names that's still in the tournament so far.
Yeah, quite a few of them in this field as well. I mean, with 43 Hearthstone Championship Tour points up for grabs, I definitely would expect people to show up for this event in addition to the 10K prize pool that's there. It's a big draw for some of the big names that are out there. In Orange now, we're moving into one round of 128. Looks like he's playing against Isamon. Is that how you pronounce this one? Isamon? Isamon? I like Isamon.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get some confirmation from someone that's on the PAX floor that can go up to him and ask him how it's pronounced. But we'll go with Isamon for now. And it looks like bans are in. So Isamon has banned out Orange's Shaman, and Orange has banned out the Warlock from Isamon.
Yeah, a little bit more of a traditional ban, I'd say, from Orange. Warlock in the pro communities is tended to be regarded as the best deck that's out there right now. If your opponent's playing Reno, there are some justifications to not banning those versions because sometimes your deck's just built strong against them. But not going to be a surprise, I think, to see Shaman banned for a lot of these matches. It is such a scary deck to play against, and oftentimes it feels like when you beat it, it's just because they got a bad draw. When you lose to it, it felt hopeless almost. It just kind of steamrolled you with turn 1 Tunnel Trog, turn 2 Totem Golem, and then action to follow it up. And I think it's kind of a situation a lot of players tend to avoid, or want to tend to avoid.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. While we wait for this matchup to get going, keep in mind, guys, still giving away a Cyber Power Gamer Extreme 1000 PC. So if you want, you can click the banner below to head over to the website. Or if you want, you can just type in geico.onog.gg. Right on the front page there's you can enter in into the sweepstakes. You can get a GEICO quote in doing so, and you enter in to win that PC. Also, if you're a U.S. resident and 18 years or older, you can enter in for the open circuit. So this whole thing is brought to you by One Nation of Gamers, who's holding the 2016 ONOG circuit, which has 10 opens, 6 feature tournaments, and the grand finals at PAX. A $70,000 prize pool over the course of the entire circuit. So if you want to sign up for the open tournaments that lead into those, you can head over to the website. The next one's on April 30th, so in a little over a week. If you want to compete, make sure you head over there during the breaks, sign up. It's really easy to do. And you can win some money. You can also qualify for those feature tournaments and eventually qualify for PAX. So lots of cool stuff. I know I played in a few of those opens because I happen to be from the old US of A and 18 plus. So make sure you guys head over there. Also, big shout out to the sponsors for the entire circuit, GEICO and Video Game Voters Network. And of course, Cyber Power PC, and then DX Racer Razor and the Aces Republic of Gamers for helping us out at PAX East with a lot of the hardware that the players are competing on. So we should be jumping in pretty soon here. But what kind of Warlock deck do you think this is from Orange? We see Paladin, but as we've seen so far from the circuit or from this major, the Paladin decks have been a little bit interesting.
Yeah, Orange, I know, is kind of a player that tends to favor the control side of things. A very unique professional in that regard. He will continue to play control decks over and over again. I know he likes to play Priest a lot in a lot of the tournaments he's played. I've seen him have very good success with it in the past. So I would not be surprised to be seeing a Reno Warlock from him. But given the way his lineup is constructed, I think that's what's kind of telling me that this is probably a Zoo deck. So this is kind of a tough one to nail. And actually his reputation kind of working in his favor in that if you don't actually know which build he's playing, it could just very easily be either one. But given that he's Paladin, Druid, and Shaman, I'm going to say this is a Zoo Warlock.
Zoo Warlock and Seeker Paladin, perhaps. Yeah. Those would be sort of the four of the strongest decks. You can, interchange the Paladin and Warrior. That's sort of just like a personal preference type thing. But Druid, Shaman, Warlock, those seem to be the 3 decks that are the common denominator among a lot of the decks that are being brought to competitive environments. Of course, we talked a lot about this earlier, the fact that this isn't open and the fact that some of these unknown players can benefit a lot from bringing crazy decks. And they just don't know. They, like you talked about, that card game environment. They're coming to this open tournament. They might just bring whatever they want And for Tosha, that was Mill Rogue and Dragon Priest and Secret Mage. So who knows? I don't even know what to expect from Isamon coming to this one.
Yeah, it looks like I'd say with Warrior, Druid, and Warlock in this lineup, it's probably just bringing something a little bit more competitive. So the Mage, I think, could very easily be Freeze Mage in this instance. It looks like his lineup kind of maybe wants to beat up Zoo pretty bad, maybe Secret Paladin as well.
Yeah.
Like I know some of the Druid builds, if you put in 2 copies of Mind Control Tech as well as a Big Game Hunter, you have a lot of different board swing dynamics that you can apply with that deck.
All right, so we got confirmation on how to pronounce what we were referring to as Isamon's name. It's Isamon.
Very close from you. That's a good guess. Gosh, you're good. You're smart.
It wasn't even close. Isamon and Isamon? Those are completely different.
That's like 1 syllable. You get 2 of the syllables right out of 3. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, it's true. I'd take those odds. If you told me I'll give you, you can win 2/3 of the Hearthstone games for the rest of your life, I'd say, yep.
You would be one of the best professionals in the world at that point.
I would be. So I'll take it. All right, jumping in, and it looks like it's going to be, I have no idea, possibly a Control Warrior.
Yeah, Acidic Swamp Ooze is a really interesting choice. The Bash is kind of tilting us towards the Control Warrior in this instance. Orange bringing, Drew decks are going to look so linear at this point until the upcoming nerfs actually take place, where Drew is going to have to find a different dynamic. 2 Wild Growths in hand, not always what you're looking for in this matchup. Typically in Warrior, I'd say you want 1 Wild Growth and then just a slew of threats afterwards. He's drawn 2 Wild Growths. He's also followed up with a Swipe and a Savage Roar. So this is actually one of those games where I feel like Isamon could be favored simply because Orange is lacking a lot of the action in his hand.
Yeah,
Keeper of the Grove isn't really one of the ones you want too bad in this matchup. It's good for like Acolyte's Pain. It's decent against Deathlord. But the big story here is that this guy's getting bashed and left with a 2/3 afterwards. And Ancient Lord gets picked up. At this point now, the second Wild Growth looks a lot better because he can actually just accelerate into turn 5 Ancient Lore.
Yeah, which it has a lot of merit. I'm sure he's expecting Deathbite to come down the next turn, but you can't play around Deathbite over 2 turns. So the one thing he doesn't really develop anything this turn, so he gives up on the pressure. But I think Keeper does have some reasonable targets, and when you're in, of course, I guess Acolyte of Pain, Sledge Belchers can sometimes be good targets. But he is going to go ahead and go on the plan of playing Ancient of Lore on turn 5, which is a really strong play.
Yeah, Deathbite going to clean this up. Do agree with Ancient Lore play. Is going to be met with that Deathbite as well. So Orange is going to be looking like he needs to draw a ton of cards to keep his economy up.
Well, hello there, Force of Nature Savage Roar.
Yeah, definitely one of the key ones in this matchup. Oh, and second Savage Roar. So now Emperor Thorson and Innervate both looking like excellent draws too, given that 22 burst from hand access.
Mm-hmm. So this might be one of the last competitive events that we'll get to see Force of Nature Savage Roar in its prime.
I'm gonna cry.
Many tears were shed, but many parties were had.
Admirable was the only one who shed tears for it because he loves Druid.
Yeah. Well, Deathlord presents quite a bit of a problem because sometimes you can keeper it if you want to push through, but just keeping it on an empty board is keeper doesn't really match up well against Deathlord anyway. And you kind of want stuff to come out from that, I suppose. Maybe you don't because of Brawl, but I don't know. This is tough. He can Druid of the Claw charge with Savage Roar, which is a clean removal. He uses up all 8 of his mana, and he's still left with a 4/2, and then whatever comes out of the Deathlord.
Yeah, I'd really like to see him not Savage Roar this turn just to keep access to all the damage. I think it's just 4/6 go is totally fine. You are leaving yourself in a position where if Isamon has a good range of answers, that your board could just get cleaned up turn after turn. But I think it's just a risk he's got to take at this point.
And Isamon does have plenty of removal, but does that removal line up well? He'd have to use multiple cards. He can just Deathbite and trade in, and he has a Deathbite for the next threat. Still has Bash, still has Shield Slams for whatever's going to come afterwards. But wow, okay, just going to opt to go for Just another Death Lord.
Yeah, I don't blame him for this one either. I mean, now it's looking like Orange now with options. I'd say prior to him drawing the second Druid of the Claw, he was kind of looking at silence, and start punching. But now he's drawing that second Druid of the Claw. I think he can actually just fight through this and save his silences for better situations. I mean, because now he's getting the swipe, he gets an extra threat from this. And then if this one isn't up to par, just go ahead and play that Druid of the Claw. I mean, getting a 5/5 isn't bad, but he really wants the card draw from that effect. I mean, he's much more concerned with drawing cards than he is with just getting a 5/5 body on board. So losing that Ancient of Lore is actually pretty painful, I think.
Yeah. And Isamon does have removal here, but it doesn't line up. Actually, this could be no, he doesn't have enough mana to make it a full clear, but he can remove a lot off the board here. Oh, he does have enough mana to make it a full clear.
Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking he would have needed to use the Death Bite, but he doesn't. He finds a way through it. Oh, no, actually saving the second Shield Slam.
Wow, I'm really surprised by that. I mean, now your opponent's going to get 2 threats on board and potentially a third from what's in their hand.
And a free kill on the Death Lord, effectively.
Yeah, and Orange is actually just going to take that opportunity to connect for 5, which I definitely don't blame him for here. I mean, he drew the Innervate at this point, too. So the 22, just from hand, is available next turn. If Isamon doesn't clear up this board, he's dead.
Yeah. I suppose this means he has a removal for Sylvanas, but there's no way that could have been anything that was planned. So he is going to remove a few things here, but yeah.
This is 31 damage coming.
Yeah, so that is going to
dead.
Force of Nature, double Savage Roar. Hello, soon to be goodbye.
Even with this kind of start that Isamon had, I mean, the fact that he didn't Shield Slam that one turn set him, I think, just barely far enough back that this happened a lot earlier than it should have. Now, that being said, I think that we would have come to this board state anyway. Isamon drew Acolyte Pain, he drew Big Game Hunter, he drew Acidic Swamp Ooze. He just didn't have any action to follow up with. He just drew all his utility and had nothing left.
Yeah, and that's sort of one of the reasons why Druid is so favored, because a lot of times, even if the Warrior manages to remove all of your stuff, you're still just going to have stuff. Eventually, they're going to have a dead turn, and if you have 1-2 minion stick later in the game, times where you can double combo aren't as rare as they might seem. So, Orange going to take that victory. Isamon could have made plays earlier on, like we talked about, that might have let him survive for a couple more turns, but still think that would have been in the Druid's favor. And now Isamon's going to climb back from a 1-game deficit.
Yeah, kind of expecting to lose the Druid versus Warrior matchup, so you can't be too upset with that one. Just got to roll with the punches and keep going from there. It's going to be Secret Paladin from Orange. Do not blame him for this one. And this matchup's actually really interesting to me, where I have found the kinds of cards that I'm willing to keep versus Control Warrior quite literally ranges up to Tyrion. Like, I'm willing to keep Tyrion in my hand in these matchups just because it's so powerful. Orange says that Mysterious Challenger is enough for him. Definitely can't blame him for that. You're looking at second copy of Mysterious Challenger being good, copy of Dr. Boom, potentially Ragnaros in the build, and now he's got a great curve to go along with it. So Isamon not only has to answer the early curve, but he's got to fight off the Mysterious Challenger afterwards as well. He's got Bash Revenge, Elite Starseeker, Shield Slam, and Sludge Belcher to do it with. And it's going to start with Armor Up, and Orange's hand's looking so good.
Oh, baby. That's all I got to say. Yeah, that's a sick curve. Especially since he's got reasonable plays to all of his turns leading up to even a coin Mysterious Challenger, like Muster for Battle next turn. Then on turn 4, he can Shielded Minibot and Hero Power if he doesn't draw into like Piloted Shredder, and then coin out Mysterious Challenger on what could be a good board. The secret, maybe you can even forego Muster for Battle.
Yeah, it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
You play Muster for Battle. You start attacking. Isamon has drawn Big Game Hunter, though. So if he can find a way to isolate this board presence, leading in the Mysterious Challenger turn, he does actually have a way to answer that. And that's a very important deal when you're playing against Secret Paladin. He even picks up Death Lord to go along with this. So can play on curve with Elite Starseeker this turn, follow it with Revenge and Death Lord next turn to try to shut off the Assault, and then hopefully find a way to get that Big Game Hunter out right on time to stabilize the board position.
Yeah. And these are the cards that you want to have in your hand against the Secret Paladin. You just want to have ways to deal with it. And we'll see how comfortable Orange is here with this situation. It looks like he is going to opt to trade, which is smart. Those 1/1s are just a revenge away from being brutally murdered.
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit earlier, where how trading has become so much more important to so many more decks this late in the metagame. And people typically have answers to these kinds of board states where you just go wide with a bunch of 1/1s. There's 2 copies of Revenge in a lot of Warrior decks right now. And so very smart for him to trade in that position and keep his board from being too terribly vulnerable. And now he's got a lot of options in his hand. These are going to be some tough turns for Orange. They're all good for him, though.
Yeah. So Orange can remove this Belcher and be left with a damaged mini bot and a full health mini bot with Challenger. But I'm gonna opt to remove this a little more cleanly. Not sure how I feel about it, but
yeah, I like this a lot. Keeps his 1/1 Divine Shield around. It's not going to die to Revenge that way, and is going to absorb weapon attacks at the same time, and just ends up in the same board state he was last turn. He's got four minions in play. Isamon's got nothing in play. He has to find a way to start answering this stuff. And so if Orange can create this circumstance over and over again, eventually he's going to get the favorable sides of the trades because he's got those super impactful late game cards with Mysterious Challenger, Dr. Boom, Tyrion, and then just the card quality improves so much more post Mysterious Challenger that these are the kinds of games that I feel like I tend to lose against Secret Paladins when they just can play so efficiently and I don't have big board sweeps.
Yeah, but this does delay his Mysterious Challenger for a turn. It also increases the likelihood that he draws into a secret, which makes his Mysterious Challenger less effective. And it also means that now, this turn, he doesn't have a way to deal with the Deathlord. He has to trade in if he wants to kill it this turn. And he's also weaker to Brawl. So I don't know. He put himself in the same board state, but I feel like he could have put himself in a really strong board state. I don't know. We'll see how it works for him. He decided to be patient with the Mysterious Challenger. And could... depends where this Avenge is going to land.
TJ's looking for all the possibilities right now. The big story here for me is that Orange actually didn't attack this turn. He had a chance to kill that Deathlord and get an extra minion out, but knows that if he does that, he's much more vulnerable to Brawl, where in this situation, if his opponent brawls, he has a pretty good likelihood to keep 3 minions on board because the Deathlord's spawning an extra one. And so Isamon has to fight through that, which is going to force him to use Revenge. But he's taken care of this quite nicely. So the execute follow-up, Deathlord is challenged by the 5/3 on board, but I think this position's just okay for Isamon. Now the problem is going to be the threats that come out afterwards.
Yeah.
He's invested a lot into taking care of that board state, and it's about to just get huge again. And that's the situation that Orange has been trying to create the entire time. It's just put Isamon in the same situation over and over again, where he expends all of his resources, and Orange is left with the last threat.
And a Jugular. Does this change his play? Does he go for Dr. Boone now? Or, okay, he wants to get out the Brawl, I suppose, but I feel like a Brawl would have just been used last turn.
It would have, but I still think that the Sludge Belcher is stronger here, just simply because if it's just a good enough threat right now. Like, if he can force Isamon to use his last removal spells on this board, that means the Challenger or the Dr. Boom isn't going to get checked, and I think that's what he's looking for.
Yeah, I suppose it's a very safe line of play. You're not going to kill your opponent as fast, but you're going to make sure that when you do play that big stuff, it is going to stick. Because your opponent can't leave this stuff on the board. And now Isamon just spends this turn just...
Oh, jeez.
Hello!
Senor del Fuego in Orange's hand. I think this has got to be the play. Like,
yeah,
he hasn't
8
seen
damage
Brawl,
to face.
just saw Shield Slam, just saw Execute. Wow.
What?
Safe. Orange is playing safe, but I don't really think that this is bad.
Is that even safe, though? I don't even know if that's safe.
I think it is. I think this is very safe.
I think Rag is safe. I think Ragas is about as safe as it gets.
This is going to continue. No, I think this is safer. I really do. Mysterious Challenger is a much lower priority threat than Ragnaros is right now. So if you can get your opponent to kill Mysterious Challenger, there's no way they're coming back.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, this has just been constant assault from Orange the entire time.
Yeah, he can keep Revoldemon here, trade in, and push a lot of damage. But I don't think there's a world where Orange ever loses.
It's going to be really tough. Yep, just go ahead and continue to expend Life Total as a resource. He uses Blessed Kings. He's just using all his weakest cards first. But his weak cards are still very good in these situations.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose Mysterious Challenger is safer. It doesn't get blown up by BGH. It does do 8 immediate damage, but also you can't use the Mysterious Challenger to attack into a minion if you need to in a desperate situation. But this looks like it's going to be Orange taking the victory. He can't even get out of range, even with the double dip from the armor up.
Yeah,
just no way.
Gonna do it. Even if you got the extra 4 armor here, just done like dinner. Orange, very convincing game number 2. I mean, the Ragnaros being in the build, that is a consideration for more top end, and that doesn't surprise me to see that in Orange's build. He's always going to have some sort of extra inevitability in the builds he plays. It's just the way that he plays the game. It's just his style. And in that one, he just a constant barrage of threats. There wasn't an effective answer from Isamon at any point. He just kind of delayed and delayed and delayed until it became too much.
Yeah, and now Orange is in a situation where he's got 3 opportunities to find a win with the Warlock deck, which talked about it earlier. A lot of pro players consider this Warlock to be the strongest class in the game right now, and Zoo Warlock to be the strongest deck. We assumed it'd be Zoo Warlock based off the rest of his decks, and we are not correct.
Yeah,
who knows what the heck this is?
It's just what it is. Orange will play control decks. And this is even kind of what I was talking about. Even with the Zoo, I think making more sense for his lineup. Orange is concerned with being able to fight his opponents. He wants he wants to be able to make impactful decisions. And that's what he's going to stick to. Yeah, Bomb Lobber is actually something I've been seeing him stick to with a lot of his Reno builds. Just having access to an efficient 5-drop that is extra removal. I mean, you really only have a couple of good ones with Loatheb and Sludge Belcher. If you need an extra 5-drop, I think Bomb Lobber is a decent option.
Yeah, I've been seeing a little bit of a rise of Demon Handlock lately. But usually the Demon Handlock, since it's so tight, doesn't fit a copy of Siphon Soul in. So given that opening hand, pretty confidently can tell that it's going to be Reno. And of course, you mentioned the Bomb Lobber, the Paladin Shredder, and the Twisting Nether is a dead giveaway. And Druid does have a good matchup against Reno Warlock, but Reno Warlock can squeak out wins if they manage to tempo out, and if the Druid misses Wild Growth, misses Innervate, misses those ramp tools. So this game could be a lot closer than what you normally see in a Druid versus Reno Warlock matchup.
Yeah, Isamon even going to choose to forego the Mind Control tech here. I think I would have liked to see him play that, just get something on board and have access to these Wraths that actually do something. So instead, he's just playing defensively this game, goes in and Wraths and Pilot Shredder. Wild Growth, much worse on turn 4 than it is on turn 2. But still the play here, I believe.
Yeah. Got to open up that mana. All right, well, Orange not going to be able to tempo out a minion this turn, but he's going to play the Sunfury Protector. I kind of like this play. A lot of times you can tunnel into the mindset that, well, I need the Sunfury Protector to protect me from combo later on, but a lot of times just having stuff on the board to prevent your opponent from building up an even bigger board is the correct play, just because that Sunfury Protector, especially in Reno Warlock, is not going to block nearly as much damage as it would in, say, a Handlock or a Demon Handlock, because you can't consistently get big stuff out to taunt up and protect yourself with.
Yeah. Interesting turn here for Orange. Lot of different tools available to him. I think Implosion probably tunnels in on that one. I mean, I was looking at Bomb Lobber, maybe Loatheb in this turn, but when you draw the Implosion here, it sets up for Mortal Coil sometimes. Just overall, much better play from him. Implosion typically pretty weak versus Druids if you're playing a slower style. So having it out sooner rather than later is definitely better for you. Does get Mind Control tech value.
Oh, baby.
At this point, though.
Not that big of a deal. It just steals a 1-1. But hey, basically 4-4 with the stats for 3 mana, and also taking away a 1-1 for your opponent is actually still pretty good value. And you're going to Wrath just to clear stuff off, so Isamon starting to fight back on the board. Does have some nice sized minions in his hand still. We'll see what Orange can do to fight back. Does still have that bomb lobber. Has a dark bomb as well. Reno Jackson picked up.
This is actually kind of a weak turn from Orange here. It's not like a ton in his hand. I mean, I almost feel like he wants to play Reno because he's pretty far ahead, but knows that because he's so far ahead, he can just play it slow. So easy bomb lobber for him then. Just keep on going. And Isamon, his hand is full of threats at this point. I mean, this is the kind of threats he needed, in turn 4 through 7. Now he has them on turns 8 onward, and that amount of time that Orange has got because of that, I think may be enough for him to just leverage the card quality he has and keep the board state under control. Use Reno to swing his life total back up and then just be safe.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think he just slammed Dr. Boom here. Oh, baby.
Such a good card. I'm glad to see that one rotating. This one has been a little bit too powerful.
Yeah, a little bit too oppressive, I think. Pretty much forcing a lot of decks to include Big Game Hunter just to be able to deal with it. And even then, it doesn't deal with it at all. Boombots can just do so much damage. And Sylvanas could throw a wrench in these plans.
Whoa!
Oh, man!
Wow. Such sick Boombots. And Orange just nods like, yep, I've been here before.
What the heck? So, oh my goodness. And Orange is like, okay, well, back to square one, I guess. And this is not square one. This is square -1. This is like, I just spent a Dr. Boom to essentially give my opponent a Dr. Boom. Like, that's basically what his last turn was, it feels. That's brutal. Absolutely.
Opponent's minion gets +2/+2. Yeah, don't blame him for the twisting nether here. Not the timing he wanted for it, but I think he's happy to have that option. And now Isamon takes initiative and picks up Ancient of Lore this turn. Maybe would like to see 2 5-drops instead, but he did just see the big bad Mammoth Jamma board sweep. And so he's going to take this opportunity to just draw some cards and have more options for a later turn.
And now this game has a significantly different landscape because Orange just has nothing on the board now. He's giving complete initiative over to Isamon and doesn't have great tools. If he Siphon Souls this Ancient board, then he's still giving up initiative.
Looking to get it back, though, up to 21 with a Zombie Chow board. Does have Shadow Bolt in his hand as well, so potential to kill some threats that come out. This is going to be Isamon's turn here. Looks like he's got Dr. Boom in his sights.
Yeah, just load it up. Second Dr. Boom of the game on the Isamon side of the board.
Yeah, this is really bad news for Orange. I think he needs Big Game Hunter, and he needs it sooner rather than later.
Or his own mind control tech.
Well, if he attacks first, I'm going to say that mind control tech's probably not in here.
Yeah, and Orange has to use multiple resources to deal with this Dr. Boom now. And he's dead to combo next turn with these Boombots on the board, so he has to play something to stop himself. He's going to use the Loath at this turn, so that he has more power on the board as opposed to the anti-kill bot to put him out of range. But Isamon's just going to snap call the Ancient of War.
Yeah, how about a 5/10 taunt? Can you deal with that one? He just dealt with the Dr. Boom in a relatively inefficient way. And so I think the 5/10 is going to bring terror as well. I mean, Orange is in such a bad spot now.
Yeah.
Well, Brand T Keelbot is now also available.
Oh, you just combined them now? What about
That's the way it works, right?
Or what about the Brandlight Drake?
Defender of Brargus.
There's nothing else.
Brofender of Argus. Brano Jackson. Healed at 30 twice.
Jirax Beard.
That's Lord Jirax Beard, TJ.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah, it's going to be Twilight Drake, and it looks like Defender of Argus as well. Oh, he's going to go for Reno instead. I don't blame him for this. This board has gotten so scary for him.
Yeah.
So up to 30, out of range of combo at this point. If he could see Isamon's hand, I think he'd be playing this a little bit differently. The fact that he doesn't have any combo pieces is so good for Orange, but also so bad at the same time because he's playing it so defensively versus combo, so he doesn't die and buys himself more time. But none of those cards are in Isamon's hand. He's just got more threats.
I don't know if this sequencing is good. He could have just full cleared with swipe with the first attack and guaranteed that the boot damage would have gone face.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, I guess this is still good. He just missed between 1 and 4 damage to face.
Big Game Hunter a little bit late. Orange's hand is looking scarce.
A little bit late, yeah. That seems to be Big Game Hunter's motto.
There we go, a little bit late. Orange is drawing all his utility too late in the game, and that's the risk of playing control decks like this, is that they have one copy of all these cards in their deck. So when they draw them later on instead of earlier, you end up using so many resources to handle everything and then draw poor card quality afterwards. That's a risk you take when you play Reno Jackson.
Yep. Exactly right. And Orange is going to really agonize over this decision, but he's just got nothing. He's got nothing.
What's the least bad play here? I mean, is Go potentially better than playing anything? And when that is a thought, I'm not happy with my hand.
Yeah. Well, still no combo pieces.
Yo, Isamon, I heard you like drawing cards.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay, well, this could just be Ramp Druid.
It's definitely a possibility. I mean, I'd be pretty surprised to still not see like one Force Nature, one Savage, or just have access to it. But given that we've seen Ancient War and Cenarius at this point, I don't think it's an impossibility. And the Mind Control tech, I don't think it's an impossibility. He is just playing Ramp Druid.
Yeah. I can't remember any decisions that may have led us to believe that, but that would definitely make all of Orange's decisions that he's made throughout this game pretty ineffective, just because he's been playing around combo for 3 turns now.
I'm just going to go with Big Game Hunter Shadow Flame, but once again, just sets his board. It's like, I hope you're out of stuff. Well, Isamon's never running out of stuff. That's all he's got is stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and double living roots as well. What the heck? We'll see what he's going to draw from these 2 cards. Innervate and an Emperor Thorsan. Still 0 combo pieces.
I would be a little bit surprised to see Emperor Thorsan without any combo pieces in here. You know, what is it really enabling if you don't have combo? So it's possible he's got 1 copy just buried in the bottom of his deck, but goodness gracious, his hand is just so good.
All right. Well, Orange is just trying to keep himself in the game. There's a chance that he can... I don't know. There's not really much a chance of anything. As soon as he plays Jiraxis, he's basically dead in the water if he still thinks it's combo. And there's been no indication of any kind from Isamon that he wouldn't be playing it. He's seen Mind Control Tech, he's seen Living Roots, he hasn't seen Cenarius. You know, he sees Emperor Thorsan. There's been cards that have been in the far left of Isamon's hand for a long time. There's just he thinks that there's combo, and he may just be disappointed that there's not going to be if he watches his back or if he plays another game and gets to all 30 cards of the deck.
Sylvanas would have been good to have on board already, but just continue to draw. Utility cards, ahoy.
Yeah.
Sylvanas is just a 5/5 taunt into Emperor Thorsan. Does not feel very good.
Yeah.
I have no time for games.
Just snap play Jiraxis. Just, I lose this game anyway. I'm going to play Jiraxis and just hope that you don't have combo.
That's when you just stare the other guy down.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
I don't know how close these guys are in proximity to each other. Usually at the PAX events, at least at the last one that I did, they're like, what are they? Adjacent? Yeah. Is that the right? Parallel? perpendicular, acute, obtuse.
No Lotheb here from Isamon. That's going to let Orange have potentially some game against this. I mean, Hellfire anti-Keelbot not looking too bad. The problem is he's almost out of cards in his deck. Like, look at how low he is on cards.
Yeah, and in this version that he runs, which is removal heavy, he doesn't run the combo. Any type of combo. He doesn't run Fucking Slag. He doesn't run Power Overwhelming, Arcane Golem, or Leroy and Faceless. He just runs additional removal and relies on sort of Jiraxis as his win condition against control decks, and just relies on valuing his opponent out of the game in any other scenario. So his late game win condition is basically going to be play Jiraxis and get infinite value from your Infernals. But he's stalling the game pretty far. It's just now he's never going to be able to play Molten Giant.
Isn't going to life tap either. Knows that drawing cards is kind of a poor thing at this point, and that's going to be the window for Cenarius. And Orange, you see the reaction from him, like, wow, really? That's the card you've been holding. That's going to be Cenarius, Innervate, Lotheb. And this is really bad news.
Oh, yikes. What's going through Orange's head right now is, I could have played Jiraxis forever ago.
Yeah,
now he's got... Yikes. Plays around combo for 6 turns in a row. Well, turns out there's no combo. Turns out the combo is Cenarius, Innervate, Lotheb. Didn't play around that, did you?
Strong.
Strong. Yeah, but that's going to be Isamon putting himself on the board. Orange still a match point here with this Reno Warlock deck. And he's going to have to go up against a Control Warrior and a Mage, which we have not seen yet. So these could be a couple tough matchups for Orange to win with this Reno Jackson deck, depending on what type of Mage is going to be coming out from Isamon. But we are going to jump into Control Warrior next. So this matchup's a doozy.
Yeah, I say with the way that Orange's deck is built, I mean, notice there's lack of combo. There's lots of answers in it. There's a lot of utility in this build. He's got Acidic Swamp Ooze. This is the matchup I think that he's kind of built for, is this style of matchup.
Yeah.
Like, typically, he's going to be free to just play Jiraxis as early as he can play it, and then just crank out 6/6s for the rest of the game. So with that being his game plan, I feel like he's got a major advantage versus Isamon in this game.
Yeah, a lot of times what happens in this matchup, if you do run the combo, is you have a lot of dead cards in your hand for a majority of the game, because by the time you can play it and have it reduced, the Warrior has gotten to an armor total where the cards just, you just can't go for it. And Jiraxis just makes the matchup so much more consistent. Even just having Jiraxis in a combo version makes that matchup more consistent. So I still think it's close. I still think things have to line up. Harrison Jones can come out. We saw Isamon runs Acidic Swamp Ooze in this deck, so taking away Jiraxis' hands makes him a lot weaker, as does taking away most things' hands make them a lot weaker.
Yeah, that's typically the case.
I can't think of a single instance where taking someone's hands makes them stronger. Racking my brain.
Hands-free competition. 4-1 drops. That ain't too shabby. That means that Bomb Lumber is lined up very nicely for this Deathlord. But what if he gets Jiraxis from it?
Oh, no. I think you have to go for it now. You have to go for it as early as possible. What's it going to be?
Hey, okay. I'll take it.
Yeah.
You don't need the Boombots this matchup. 7/7 is fine enough.
I'd rather have 6/6 Infernals every turn as opposed to 2 Boombots, so I'll take it. And no way to deal with this right away. This Dr. Boom right away. So that thing's hitting something.
Hey.
Ooh. Spoke too soon.
Right off the top. All right, we're actually going to clean up the rest of this board position. But is going to give initiative over to Orange, who is going to keep life tapping and getting his board developed, digging for a Jiraxis. I'm actually curious if this is a matchup where you can justify keeping Jiraxis in your opening hand. You know he's playing control. You've seen that he has Deathlords, and you know that's your major win condition.
Yeah.
Something interesting to think about.
There's also the argument, well, I want to curve out. Sometimes having just a strong curve early on of minions will be just as effective as having Jiraxis on turn 9. But, I think I would definitely consider it in most of my Reno Warlock versus Control Warrior matchups. I'm usually the Control Warrior in the matchup, though.
I know that you like to tank up.
I do. It's one of my favorite things to do. There's just so much satisfaction. But Sludge Belcher opted to be played, and now Orange is in a situation where he has to think every turn. If I play this threat now, am I just throwing it into removal? Is this card going to have a purpose later on in the game? And the big thing here is to make sure that he taps as much as possible. Does he want to just hold on to his Belcher? That Shieldman just has such a good trade into it. But in order to take out the Shieldman, he has to use multiple removals. All right, I like this play as opposed to playing the Loatheb.
I wouldn't mind seeing like Hellfire attack with the Belcher either. I don't think it's like horrible. I don't think this is bad either because the brand is relatively low value in this matchup. And when I say relatively low value, I basically mean none. And so what he's trying to do here is he's trying to set up the Zombie Chow to get value from something and have the Hellfire still be available later on. You know, Zombie Chow's not very good in this matchup either. So he's just trying to make the most of his tools. And if that means making a weaker play right now so that he can have stronger plays later on, that's just something that's going to be right up his alley. I've seen him do this a lot of times in tournaments in the past. And, you know, a little bit unfortunate that he's going to be running into another Belcher right here, but even still, he gets to like if this Belcher hits the board, he's still got pretty clean trades into this. Just runs the Zombie Chow into this, Hellfires, and uses the brand to clear up the 1/2.
Yeah, I like this, and he's going to get value to the Zombie Chow regardless, which is a great thing. Ooh, I think Monocoil is fantastic. Allows him to Shadow Bolt Monocoil and have some clean trades onto the board. The one thing is that he doesn't have another follow play unless he picks up a 4-mana minion, and that is not going to be a 4-mana minion.
Yeah, I don't think he's too upset about this. Again, like Control Warriors is one of the matchups where you're not really getting that pressured. So just having effective plays is good enough. And Dark Peddler is actually going to put 10 cards in his hand. So I don't think we're actually seeing Dark Peddler this turn unless he wants to suicide. I mean, he cannot risk burning. He cannot risk burning the Jiraxis at this point. So just going to go with Dark Bomb instead, leave the Zombie Chow on board to chip away at armor, and very similar board state to what we had last turn.
Yeah, which is what you want.
Instead of Acidic Swamp Ooze.
Yikes. That's probably gonna be a big deal because that 3 damage, that recurring 3 damage, can be huge. All right, so tap Twilight Drake, Dark Peddler.
A lot of options this turn.
You can also Hellfire to clear off the Sludge Belcher and get value to the Zombie Chow before his opponent gets below 30 health. But I think a tap is definitely going to be the first line of play here.
Yeah, I mean, something Orange is doing very well is just making sure he life taps basically as often as he possibly can. You know, in this matchup, it's such a big grind. If you can force the Warrior to just use all their removal spells, your last threat makes a big impact.
Yeah. So I really like this Sunfear Protector, actually, because it forces, if Isamon were to have an execute, which he does, it forces him to remove multiple things, multiple hits. If he didn't play it, he would have been able to attack and to hit the Zombie Chow.
Whoa! Isamon didn't see Jiraxis last game.
Whoa!
And so he's going to think it's not there. That 6 Swamp Ooze hits play, and that opens up 18 more long-term damage from Orange with those Jiraxis hands.
I'm so surprised he didn't just play Deathlord there. Especially with a Brawl in hand, Deathlord just works it in your favor so much. He had the mana.
Yeah, this is
really
a very
interesting
surprising play. This is going to open up Hellfire very well for Orange. He gets to follow up with Dark Peddler. Keep the life taps going.
Yeah. That's so brave. So very, very brave.
Flame Imp, I don't think is slated for this turn. You know, the one way that Orange can die is if he plays Flame Imp, then Isamon has Grommash in hand.
Yeah.
So Abusive Sergeant or Power Overwhelming, I think, are both fine. When you have that Shadow Flame in hand, I think Power Overwhelming looks a lot more appealing. A big game hunter for Isamon, and there's nothing in sight anytime soon.
Yeah, Molten Giant's going to be one of the only targets that's going to hit, and I'm pretty sure as soon as Orange sees a Jiraxis, as long as there's not going to be a risk of him dying to a Grom Hellscream, he's just going to snap play it. And This Death Lord could be an issue, though. Does not want Jiraxis to come out of that.
Is when the tension starts to build on the board this way, though, and both players are kind of reluctant to have any attacks because neither of them are very good. Well, that's certainly a game changer. Well, now Implosion's looking pretty good. This game has been crazy so far.
Yeah. This whole day has been crazy. We've seen some crazy stuff happen. Crazy decks, I suppose, is the correct way to put it. All right, gonna get out the Molten Giant now while it's still fresh.
Yeah, I guess this is just fine. Let the tension continue to build on board. I mean, you're winning at this point, and Isamon's down to 3 cards left with the draw in hand. So Big Game Hunter handles the Molten Giant. I don't even think that's too bad for Orange. It's just he's just going 1 for 1 on the cards, really. Like, he's got Implosion take care of this and get extra presence on board afterwards.
Yeah. All right, Owl makes this a lot cleaner because now he does not have to worry about Jiraxis, and that's an easy call to make. There's rarely any silence targets in this deck, unless he gets a crazy legendary that you need to silence from Golden Monkey. So definitely a good pickup for him. Now he knows that Death Bites are gone, so there goes the activators for Grom Hellscream. Isamon does pick up Justicar Trueheart, but this game isn't about health total. It's just about outvaluing, getting minions on the board, and repeated damage from all of your minions.
Yeah.
So a little bit unfortunate though.
Orange is a little bit low on cards here, so he does need that Jiraxis sooner rather than later, and he needs to be able to have enough time to get the value out of it. I mean, if he rolls, like say Jiraxis is card number 30, there's a chance he just doesn't have the time to kill Isamon.
Yeah. That's a good point. So maybe drawing the Justicar Trueheart in a timely manner works out. Ooh.
Yeah, he's going to win Brawl here.
Yeah, I definitely like that a lot better.
I don't know.
Cycling on a Lotheb that you know is pretty much gonna die anyway from the Brawl. That slam, that 2 damage seems like it's gonna find a target.
Well, there's a slam. Picks up his card. I personally think he needs to dig a little bit. Revenge is nowhere near being activated at this point. And isn't going to revenge away these 1/1s, wants them to be on board for Brawl. And that is Jiraxis for Orange.
And he's at 15 health.
Yeah. This is a slam Jiraxis turn, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Would you rather face Orange or would you rather face Jiraxis? This game, you gotta face both.
Yeah. Well, Isamon is a potential for a Harrison Jones still remaining in his deck. If he has Ooze, I'd imagine he has Harrison too. I don't see a world where you would run Ooze over Harrison. Maybe if you want to curve out quicker, it comes out faster. It could be a little bit better against Secret Paladin, but...
Well, you may not want to draw cards in some matchups too. I mean, drawing cards can sometimes be a liability.
Yeah.
So I would be surprised to just see the Acidic Swamp Ooze over the Harrison Jones because of that. And Orange...
That's true. That's a good point.
Going to take this opportunity to trade in, play anti-Keelbot, make a 6/6, and say go. And this is where the pressure is going to mount very quickly for Isamon. He does have a copy of Brawl right now, so he can afford to take some damage, but every single turn another 6/6 gets made. That makes Brawl both better and worse at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird to say, but like your opponent has a higher likelihood to keep a 6/6, but you're killing more big minions with it.
Yeah.
Orange looking to force this Brawl. And he's even going to trade very wisely. Wow, this is a tough spot for Isamon.
Now there's absolutely no good Brawl targets, no matter what happens. So
yikes. The discounts are coming.
Pretty. Not that the discounts even matter at this point. It's not like Orange wants to play too much stuff on a single turn. So there comes the Brawl. But there's nothing good to come from this. The 6/6 comes out. Whoa, big surprise there. And that was just going to be more 6/6 that's just coming every single turn. Isamon just doesn't have the removal to be able to do anything. And now he's basically all in on Grom.
Yeah, nice pickup there from Orange. Just anything to keep his life total topped off. And I think he's going to add Sylvanas to this too. I don't know if that affects his time to kill at all, actually. So That's something I would like to see Orange count this turn is, does the Sylvanas affect his time to kill? And if it doesn't, don't play it. And if it does, play it. When he sees this shield slam, he's going to be very happy, I think. Now, I liked Isamon's attack last turn. If Orange didn't have a heal, he could have drawn Grommash to end the game.
Yeah. So it's the right call, but realizing that one of his only win conditions is going to be to draw that. Other win condition would be get something incredibly impactful from a Golden Monkey that would need to be drawn like next turn. So, but Orange is out of cards, so he does need to put Isamon on a clock. He can wait one more turn to play Reno Jackson to bring himself just right out of range of it once again.
If he plays Reno Jackson, his concern, I think, is Grommash and Cruel Taskmaster.
Yeah. Which is very rare, but if you really want to be safe, then you can play it. But I think you can afford to wait one more turn. And double revenge! Oh, no.
That's game. 18, 19, 20, 21. That's 25 points of damage. Orange is going to take game number 4 here. It does not matter how Isamon plays this. He has no effective options. And Dirax is just in time to end the game before the fatigue takes his life away.
Yeah, so Orange is going to move on. I think that was pretty expertly played by him. A little bit of a weird matchup with the Druid. Seemed to be just a straight-up ramp Druid from Isamon. Orange played around a combo that didn't exist for a long time and eventually just got valued out of the game. But other than that, played really well. Isamon, unfortunately, he has been eliminated. I think he played well also, but Orange is a tough opponent to go up against in the round of 128 of an open tournament. Pretty brutal.
Yeah, very strong long-term game plans from Orange. I'm actually curious still about the keep of Jiraxis in opening hand, if that's something that you could potentially do when you know that you're facing against Deathlord Control Warrior.
Yeah.
Losing your Jiraxis is the way you lose the game. So why ever take that risk? Other than that, I think that his game plan was very solid, and the only real slip-up, I think, from Isamon in that game was likely the ooze a little bit too early.
Yeah.
He took 15 points of damage from Jiraxis' hands. And he took 1 damage over lethal in the last turn. Would he have had time to find Grom and let the fatigue kill Orange at the very end had he not played that Acidic Swamp Ooze?
Yeah, just taking punches from Jiraxis. Not what you want to do, but that is going to be that series. Coming up next is going to be Firebat taking on Shut Up McKee. So before we jump into that matchup, we are going to have to take a quick break. Keep in mind, guys, if you're at PAX, ONOG has made the Battle Zone beta app. If you want to win some Razor gear and some cash prizes in your app packs, go ahead and search for Battle Zone beta in the App Store. You can battle against other players that are playing Hearthstone at PAX East and win some cool prizes, so make sure you do that. Also, still giving away the Cyberpower Gamer Extreme 1000 PC, so make sure you head over to the website. Either click the banner down below or head over to geico.onog.gg in order to enter in to win that. All the information about the 2016 circuit, as well as the Hearthstone Major, is on that website as well. But we're going to have to go to a quick break, guys, so don't go anywhere. Right after the break, it's going to be Firebat versus Shut Up McKee. More action from the Hearthstone Major at PAX East from One Nation of Gamers right after this.